stages, and then they're going to repeat your instructions, and then you're going to step forward and you're going to sanitize your hands. You'll throw away your napkin. You'll sanitize again. Now the very first thing you're going to do is apply your foundation. You're going to need a spatula because you have to remove the foundation from the container, and make sure you seal every time after you get into each one of these. You're going to remove your foundation from here and put it onto your container. So you'll need this to do so like this. That is plenty. Keep in mind that anything that goes on needs to dry before you do your powder so you don't have wet spots. Set this back down. This is now trash, so you're going to throw that away. I'm going to try to keep your stuff clean, so I'll put it over here. You're going to grab your sponges. Just one is sufficient for the whole area. You'll dab like so, making sure it's not too wet. Like I said before, I applied several dots and then blended. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I just started blending the whole thing throughout the surface of the doll head. I'm going to use a lot less on this one because we're just doing a practice run through. When we do the next one, I'll actually show you a good amount to use. But because we're going to repeat this whole thing very quickly here in a moment, I'll just go through it very quickly. So making sure that you're just covering all the areas of the skin. Make sure you don't have any in the crevices of the nostrils. Making sure that you're not going up too high under the eye either. You want it to kind of blend and get and dissolve before it hits the eyelid, because you don't want any product to get into the client's eye. We don't do concealer, so just imagine that wherever you'd stop your regular foundation is where you would stop on the doll head, leaving the area for the concealer free. So that's sufficient. Then you'd get rid of this. You'd throw it away. I'm going to keep that bag clean. The next thing you would do would be scrape some of the powder using one of your spatulas. So I'm going to mock this. You would scrape some onto your little palette and close it. You would bring out another sponge and you would apply it over the top of the foundation. Again, very lightly. You just want to absorb some of that liquid that's on there. But make sure that it's not too liquidy before you do that, because it will leave darker spots or circles where that foundation is too heavy. So make sure it's nice and smooth on the contours of the face. Then you're going to get rid of that. The next thing you're going to do is your blush. I would pull out my blush. You're going to scrape it just like you did the powder. You're going to grab your sponges and apply one side and the other, making sure again there's not too much product. You don't want any lines of demarcation, so you don't want a heavy swoop like they used to do in the 80s. You want it to be a very nice little apple effect, you know, when they used to pinch their cheeks in the 20s and that. So just that kind of effect on there. The next thing you're going to do is your eyes. So you're going to come up here and grab your eyeshadows. This should be labeled eyeshadow. You're going to get your little spatula and you're going to scrape 3 colors onto the palette. I would use the lighter 3 shades, staying away from anything dark, again, because it's very hard to blend on a plastic surface that isn't skinned, and you don't want any lines of demarcation on the eyes as well. So you would scrape off your 3 products. Then you'd pull out your eyeshadow. Now when you pull out your applicators, you want to use a separate applicator for each eye, in case there's any kind of infection that you don't know about that isn't present or visible. You're not spreading it from one eye to the other. Also if they have any styes or anything like that. It's the same process for the lips. You apply from the in out on each quadrant with something separate, so that if they have any lip infections or cold sores, you're not spreading them either. So you would grab your first one. You would do your lightest color, obviously goes under the brow. I would start there, applying the brow. I would throw it away. I would grab the other one, apply the brow. I would go from side to side with each one, so you're applying equal amounts of product to each eye. If you go through the whole step on one eye and then try to mock it on the other, it's a lot harder than if you apply the first one on each side at a time, ensuring that you're getting proper placement. I would go to your next color, which would be your second lightest color. That would go on the lower lid, leaving the crease empty. The reason for that is that when you are blending your 2 colors together, it's a lot easier to do that in the crease rather than going all the way down. It's harder to not get it too dark on the lid after you pulling that darker color down to the bottom. So I would say leave your darkest color for the last, and that will apply to your creases. It is completely okay to grab a clean one after you've applied if you still feel like there's maybe some lines that look like a rainbow, like a line of demarcation where it stops and it's not completely blended. Grab a clean applicator and just blend those lines, but make sure that you're disposing of it each time you move from one eye to the next. The next thing you're going to do is apply your eyeliner. The importance of this is you're going to have this brown, which is great because black is a little hard to get clean. You are going to grab your sharpener and spray it with antiseptic. This is where having your pads in handy comes in. They need to make sure this is sanitized and sterilized. So you're going to spray that down with your antiseptic. Make sure you're doing it over your trash so you're not spraying your sanitized station here, or it's not spraying on your client. You would remove a pad and you would clean it. This one's obviously very dirty, so we'll make sure that we do that with the run through. Then you would sharpen over your trash, close the cap, set this down. Well, you could either sanitize it now for the next step or after. I personally believe in sanitizing right after. That's why I put the cap back on. I would set this down and sanitize it. That way nothing contaminated is getting back on your surface. But it doesn't specify how to do that, so it's your personal preference. If you forget, it's not the end of the world. You can always do it before you sharpen for the next eye. So anyways, I did that eye clean both times. So that's twice now that I've wiped that down. I would come back to this. I would come over to my client and I would line the eye. And then I would grab another eye brush applicator, and I would kind of just smooth that. Because it does get crumbles being on plastic, they could take that as a line of demarcation. So I would smooth that out with my applicator brush for eyeshadow and get rid of it. I would then, because this is already clean because I did it before, I would just sharpen. If you have not, this is the time where you would sanitize this. Sharpen again. Make sure too that you choose one side for lips and one side for eyes. You don't, that's why it's a double. They want to see you using two separate sides because you don't want to continue bringing stuff from the eye to the lip, okay? I personally used a different lip liner that was thicker so that it fit this, but this is fine. You just need to lift up when you're sharpening. So I've sharpened for the other eye. I have applied again to the other eye. This is hard for me to demonstrate for you because I'm ambidextrous, so I switch hands for different sides of the face so that I'm not crossing over my client, but you would reach over, whichever you prefer. Right-handed, or you would reach over to this side for the left side of the face, and apply it, cap it. You don't need to sharpen this again because it's done. Now you're not going to use it on your client again. Grab your applicator brush and smooth out that product and throw it away. The next thing you're going to do is demonstrate mascara. Mascara, you need to make sure that you pull this out, and actually you can just hold on to it. You're not going to use that. That's not sanitary to use on client after client. So you're going to pull out another eyeshadow brush from the bag, push it in. Once you pull it out, don't push it in again because it's now hit the air. It's not sanitary to go back in the container. So you pull it out, you mock it. Obviously, a client doesn't have lashes, so you just go up and out on each client. You throw that away. You pull out another one, you put it in, you mock again. That is finished. This is finished. You have closed it. It can go back down. Now you're going to pull out another mascara brush and you're just going to groom the eyebrows. They don't expect you to put eyeliner up there, so just groom your eyebrows. You are finished with everything except for the lip portion, so now you're going to come in, you're going to spray again, wipe it down with your pad, choose the other side of the sharpener that you did not use for the eye, sharpen your pencil. Again, I cap mine and I clean it so that it comes down here clean. And you're going to do the left side first, and you would line and go down, and then pull over at the bottom. And then you're going to come over, you're going to sharpen and cap and clean and do the other quad or the other section of the lip. Close. Again, that can be blended with a lip brush so that it's not crumbly. I had a lot of problems with it being just like a crayon would. It can make that effect on it. They are cheap products as well, so they're not going to be as glidable. Blending that out, and then you're going to grab this. you're going to get a spatula and you're going to scrape that onto your palette as well because this is dirty. You can also scrape it, put it on the back of your hand, but putting it on your palette would be the most sanitary. So making sure you have room for all of those things is important. But you're going to grab out your lip brush. Now you're going to use one lip brush for one section, throw it away, and grab another lip brush for the other section and throw it away. If you need to grab a clean one and blend your lip liner to your lipstick, that is appropriate. At that point, you are going to grab everything, bundle it up, throw it down. You're going to grab your sanitizer, spray your napkin, your towel, sanitize your area, set this down, make sure labels are facing you. You're going to sanitize and step back. They will come around and check your application. They'll move your head around. After you're complete with that, you're going to, this will already be in your garbage can. I'm going to put it back up for this next section, but you will, at that point, dispose of everything immediately. So basically your trash bag is extremely full at this point. I grabbed my doll head and this and all my linens, and I just wrapped them up together and put them in my soiled linens and implements container. This is why I had a little bit bigger bag, because this needs to go in there at the end, and that is over full. I mean, it's very to the top full because of all the containers. They don't want you to mess around, so once you put this doll head in there, you're gonna put your paper towels in the trash, grab all of this, and put it wherever it needs to be. I put mine in the soiled linens and implements because they are indeed soiled implements that you had used them, sterilize and reuse. And these are cleaning supplies, so I put them in waste. At that point, you put both your bags on top of your container and just grab your edges and walk straight out the door next to you. They don't want to hear from you, they don't want anything, and they will tell you at the end, get everything, get your stuff and go. Which ones to leave, get out as fast as you can. So make sure that everything's kind of put in its place, and then you'll kind of raise your hand and be like, yeah, you'll go. Okay? Easy breezy.